Hello, everybody. It's probably Red. All right, so today we're jumping right back into it. Probably should have been numbering these episodes at the beginning. I think this is episode 4. Well, if you count session 0. Anyways, we're getting into it. So, last time we met Renerva, an outcast holder of Vinian, and she really didn't help us. And then we also had, I think no, yeah, before that, we had some mothlings break into our ship, but they ended up leaving. They didn't really take anything of value other than, they'd rummage around and mess with the door, but we got it locked back up, so we don't even have to return. Our surveillance stuff's intact. They didn't do too much damage. But yeah, we know that they know where we're at, so we probably need to move the ship at some point. Also, we'd love to find Ethan's crew. So let's go ahead and make a couple of objectives here. So move the ship so the mothlings don't know where we are. Maybe another. Okay, so yeah. Help the other mercenary survivors. Ethan's. What is it called? They went crazy. They're. Delirious crew. Delirious crew. See if they're still alive. And see if we can help do that. Solidify an alliance between us and Ethan. Maybe he can help with more than just one fight. It's good to have allies. And we don't really have an ally in Renerva. She seemed like, oh, I can see why I'd want to help you, but I'm not going to. Whether she could or couldn't, we couldn't tell, so we moved on. Perhaps if we could secure a way of her getting back into the order, or at least moving towards that, it might benefit her more to give us information or assistance. So, convince Renerva to help us. Okay, and then obviously we need to find Arcturus. That's his Arcturus. Arcturus. Find and subdue Arcturus. And from what we understand, he's pretty powerful, and he's been practicing these mystical arts. And we saw what, like, the more, I guess, widespread, legally practiced arts can do. One of Vinian silenced a whole crowd with a wave of their hand, almost through, like, a magical spell. Like a mental thing. So I can't imagine what the dark arts are. Maybe they're not as powerful as that one chancellor, but or that one official that was passing by us on the ship. But could be. We'll see. So we definitely have that in the back of our mind. Also, like, we're not really enemies with the mothlings right now. I mean, they seem pretty dangerous. Overall, we have 1 favor and 2 notoriety, and we're out of motivation at the moment. We have 0 motivation. Okay, so we're in it, and we ended up doing a destination thing. We got that finished. We are back at the beginning. I'm really liking it. It's very, very clean, very easy, straightforward to understand. The prompts are very clear, and they give you direction. So far, I'm liking Notorious. It's playing a lot. Like, it's playing really well. Okay, let's get into this thing. Yeah. So first, we're gonna roll on our exploration table. All right. Oops. Okay. Yeah. We haven't gotten any leads yet. It'll tell us if we do, but we're gonna roll on the exploration table. So, I always. It's hard to remember if I'm supposed to roll 1 or 2 dice on these, but we're gonna roll. Okay, we rolled a 4. Our Notoriety is not for hire, it is a 2. Otherwise, roll once on the events. And then, okay, yeah. Now we're back on track. We'll roll twice. We got a gray opaque dice. Oh, no, that's going to get confusing. Oh, we dropped it on the ground. I don't know about y'all, but I am if it falls on the ground, it doesn't count. Maybe that's just superstitious of me. You know, I actually want to get some fresh D6s for this. I like the D6s we've had. But come on, we can get some. Yeah, let's get this one. Ooh. I'll describe it in a second. It's, oh yeah, there we go. So we got kind of like a marbled, charcoal, silvery, dark gray. And then we got a green and black, with the lettering kind of like, gothic green. Yeah. So we'll be the gothic green and black, and then the kind of charcoal with the white lettering. That'll be the second roll. Yeah. First green, second white. We're going for it. Okay, so we got a 4 and then a 3. All right, so we want to go here and then here. Here's where we're at. All right. So now, the last thing where are we as far as like location? We are still at the, we need these locations a little bit closer here. We're still at Holder Gate Station, technically. And then we can just go ahead and add in there, location of Minerva's, underwater platform house. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so we know we're still at the Holder. That's our location where all this stuff is about to happen. Holder Gate Station. All right. We rolled a 3. Okay. 2 hostile scouts from the Crothian Empire speed past us on screeching hover bikes. Interesting. So how can we interpret this? So we got a couple. Let's roll for it. Let's say like 2's the average. So we'll roll a 1d4. Or actually a 1d3 plus 1. Okay. So 4 of them. We'll go with 4. Okay, so 4 once more. Okay, so 4 Acrophian Imperials fly by. And since we're on the water, it would work if they had like jet bikes. Yeah, so they got like propulsor bikes. Propulsor bikes? Yeah. I think I spelled propulsor wrong. Propulsion. Propulsor. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so they flew by on their, their propulsor bike things. So what does that mean? What's going on? And we're just kind of, we're pretty close to we're kind of a good distance away, maybe a couple of miles away. We could still see the gate station, though. I wish I had the arrow dice, the direction dice. We need okay, hold up, pause. Okay, so we've got this is a stock image from Magnific. So this image does not belong to me, just to clarify. But we got 4 directions and then 4 more directions. So starting at 12 o'clock here, clock time or compass time. That is a really cool 4-sided dice, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for an 8-sided. There it is. Okay. So starting with 1 is north, northeast, east. There should be 8 directions. So, and where we're at, I need to get the map out. What's it called? I can never remember the name of that place. Okay, Klecky. Okay, so just to kind of give you an idea visually of where we're at, this is kind of where the platform city is, over here, and then her, Renerva's house is like right over here. Okay, so we're gonna roll for what direction they're heading to. Where they're going to be passing by us. So if they're heading north, they'll be coming from the south, and so we're going to just see where they're headed from. 1 is north. We rolled 8, so that would be they're coming this way. So they are headed this way. And they like fly, like they're like a squad. They're flying over. We gotta see what else happens here, but yeah. So they're going northwest, so they're coming from the southeast, and headed what seems to be in the direction of the gate station. Of Holder Gate Station. So that is kind of troubling. Are they one of the main factions? Because I think of the 3 factions, they were second, and they would be like probably like we could roll for what, but they're in armor, so we can't really tell who it is anyways. But yeah, so no, they're just here. We're going to see what they do, but we could guess why they're heading that direction. It could be to conversate with the holders. It could be to like scout out a potential attack. There's a lot of reasons. I mean, they've got, an interesting relationship with the holders that will develop as time goes on, I suppose. Okay. So, we got 2 things that could happen here. We're going to roll a dice. So they'll go speeding by. We're going to roll the green and black. 6. Okay. They notice us and dismount to question us. We gain +1 star. Why do you get the sense they're just bored and looking for trouble? Ooh, okay. So, let's go ahead and see how this plays out. This is pretty interesting because we got Ethan here, who's an unaligned mercenary. He might even know these, Crothians here. And then we used to be a pilot. Of course, maybe unless they've specifically heard about us or know us, they probably don't know who we are. But we don't want anything to do with them. And there's 4 of them, so that's pretty intense. So why do they seem bored? Why would they stop? What are they even doing on this, planet? Especially so close to the gate station. Okay. So, yeah. And then, so they're stopping. So they, the squad of 4 wants to talk to us. Okay. So let's think of some possible things that could happen here before we start this. We've got, they are scouts. Trying to gather information. And this was kind of as we were leaving, so we're sort of close to Renerva's house. We're not like walking out of the portal when this happens. We're drifting, probably chatting, trying to figure out what we're doing next. And like we mentioned here with our goals, we probably talked about our goals. Ethan probably mentioned, like, I'd really love to find the other survivors. I've got an idea from here where they could be. I'm here to do what I was sent to do. If I can help you, it would be great. It would also be great if Nerva could help us so we can get this Arcturus fellow fast. And then I'm like, I probably need to move my ship, so if we head that direction, that would be a good idea to go ahead and try to find the rest of your crew. We'll see if that happens. But the main priority is for the Heat Seeker bounty hunters to find Arcturus. That's our goal. So they could be like scouts trying to gather information on Holder Gate Station. Or alternatively, they may be headed back to a base in, like, on another world via the gate station, because it can teleport them to other worlds. So that could be a reason that they're headed back there. They're just like gonna go in, say, hey, like basically a giant, like, travel place, like a big shipping area. You just go in and boom, you go through a gate and you're on the Acrofian Empire's territory again. Unlikely, but they could be on, like, vacation. Maybe just picked this planet to visit. They could have heard about Arcturus, and the Acrofians want him for their own gain, research, or maybe to stop Arcturus and build trust with the Holder. The Order of the Holder, yeah. Order of the Holder. There we go. So those are some possible reasons that they're headed. Yeah, so reasons they could be bored, maybe. Well, let's just roll on this real quick and see where we go from there. So 4-sided dice. Let's get that really, really beautiful looking 4-sided dice out. If I can find it quickly. Or we might just be using an 8-sided dice. You know what? We're going to use... This is a really cool 8-sided dice anyway. So we're using an 8-sided dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1. Okay, so they're trying to gather information on Holder Station. That is troubling. Of course, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for us, we don't have that much info on it. So, why would they be bored? Or why would they seem like they kind of don't really think we have anything? So, they are literally, not literally is kind of a strong word, but they are scouting out the gate station. I mean, I could see a couple reasons why. Planning sabotage or an attack. Plan to make an alliance with the Holders, with the Order of the Holder, whatever. Yeah. Order, there we go. I like that better. Order of the Holder, or Order of Holder. What did I call it a second ago? Order. Yeah, Order of the Holder. Okay. Maybe they just, they're scouting it out because they... What other reasons would they be scouting it out? Maybe they are seeing if the Holder are planning against them. Okay. There we go. That's enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it is. They are seeing, they're kind of just like defensively. And that could explain why they're bored. So they've been doing this for years. And they happened to get Imperial inspection duty. They're just going in. Most of the rooms they can't even go into anyways. It's kind of like, yeah, restricted room. You got to get more access. Oh, we're not going to get more access. It'll take too much time. Bunch of bureaucracy. They just kind of go in the rooms the holder want them to. Make some notes. If new restrictions end up being applied, that sort of thing. They're kind of doing their runs. There's a bunch of them this time. So let's do... if it's lower than 4, like 1, 2, 3, this is, about how many they normally send. And if it's 4, 5, 6, they've upped their numbers for some reason. Okay, yeah, so this is routine. This is about how many they normally send. So it's a routine check. And that's probably why they're bored. These checks have never amounted to anything except for essentially a 48-hour search mission. And before they go in, they're kind of thinking, what are these two doing here? This is kind of weird. This is literally a pirate and a mercenary just chilling out the outside of the city. So they kind of ask, their leader, they can be denoted by this red seal of a dragon eating a moon. Yeah, so it's kind of like eating a planet or some kind of sphere. And that's kind of the symbol of the Crowfians. I'm not going to do it any shame by I can try to kind of draw it real quick. So we'll see what we can get done here. It's gonna be like a dark red. And we're just gonna kind of freehand this. It's kind of dragon's mouth. Looks more like a crocodile, but you get the idea here. Yeah, it's a big old dragon. Yep, there we go. So it's a big old dragon's head eating a tiny little planet. I kind of want this to be behind. Can we send this back? Just undo. But yeah, you get the idea. It's supposed to be a little bit smaller than that, but they're like eating this planet. I wish we could drag this over or whatever, but you get the idea. It's a big old planet being eaten by this dragon. And that's the symbol of the Crowfian Empire. Probably has like kind of a golden eye here. But yeah. So their colors are red, yellow, and then followed by kind of gray. And, probably they got, I would say, kind of like this. Oh, undo. Control Z. Right here. And then we'll go ahead. Yeah. All right. That's pretty cool. And then we'd probably have it'd be like a circle pattern here. So like that. Oh. It's hard to make the circle big enough, but you kind of get the idea here. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what we're going for. Actually, what other... Yeah, let's go with that. That's kind of what we're going for. But yeah, it's a dragon's mouth. And this is kind of on their armor. And they've got like these big helmets on and that kind of thing. I can't really scroll up. It isn't... The image isn't... The circle actually isn't like... If you can see there, it's not even on the... The circle isn't on there. But yeah. That's kind of what we're going for. Yeah, so let's cross those off. Yeah, we'll leave. All right. So that's kind of, and they got like this like dark gray armor. And it kind of looks like scale mail, but it's supposed to be like dragon scales, but it looks like it's some kind of like high tech, even possibly space worthy armor. But it's light enough for them to ride their bikes around on, these propulsor bikes. So they kind of park. They're still floating there. You know, these loud kind of engines. Yeah, they're making all these kind of loud, you know, engine noises of these propulsor bikes. And they kind of ask, like, what are you doing here? And we're kind of just like, well, enjoying the sunset, because you kind of look over and the sun's setting. It's beautiful, nice. We're chilling our boats, and then they kind of pry a little bit, and Ethan explains, yeah, this kind stranger saw my boat was torn up and helped me out. You know, I kind of, even without saying anything, they pulled up on us real quick before we could even talk about it. Like, they're just out of nowhere. But he kind of seems a little offish about the Crothians too. And then neither of us really asked them anything. We kind of just are like racing through our mind, like, what are they doing here? And basically the conversation gets boring for them, and they asked to see our identification, and I reluctantly hand over my passcode, and they run it through their system, because I definitely don't want to start a fight. And let's see. I would say on a 1, a 2, or a 3, something bad pings. Like somebody in the Crothian Empire has put out something on us that these individuals, or the leader of this, squad, would be like, oh, I'm gonna have to bring you in for some further questioning or something. This is kind of weird. Okay, so we rolled a 5. He sees it. He kind of like snarls and say, oh, we got a Crothian here. And I say, yep, I did my time. And they say, once you're in, you're never really supposed to leave. And they kind of grunt and give me back my ID, and they all kind of say, all right, well, don't cause any trouble. It's unnecessary. Our relationship with these holders is tenuous enough as it is. And then they fly off with that. And next thing you know, we're alone again. It's kind of like, oh, that could have been pretty close. Yeah. So I guess this getting +1 star, and we'll mark that down and kind of figure out how that goes in the story here. So we got combat experience for fighting off 3 Eladoko warriors. And then we got +1 star. Kind of got the idea, or now we know that this planet has an Imperial presence, or at least is forming one. And just about that time, we get a little ping. Well, I get a little ping on my device, my little stopwatch, that says you've been taxed 37. 1 second, let me figure out what the money is called here. We're gonna call the main currency divots. We'll just call them divots, or at least in this area of subspace, or like a kind of a digital currency that's also represented by other things. Like, things have divot value, but mainly it's a digital currency. And we got charged for the inspection, just like 37 divots, which is like, about 4 cents. Um, not a lot, but still, we kind of like curse under our breath and like, really? They never mind. Just kind of frustrated about it. Like, I mean, it's 37 divots, but really? You inspected me. So they're kind of like a digital currency that is pretty much universal. And it is backed both by the Holder and the Acrofian Empire, at least. So we know those two factions use it. Yeah. Minus 37 divots. And we're doing all right. You know, it's not gonna break the bank. It's like a very small amount of credits. Almost 4 cents, essentially. Almost nothing, but it adds up when they do enough inspections. Yeah. So they're kind of looking for trouble, but even though they sort of found it, they didn't find enough of it that they wanted to interrupt their own afternoon. So where does that bring us? We have managed, and I didn't expect this to be the case. A little side note here. I completely expected we would have been to like 5 different destinations by now. I'm surprised that we're still here at the gate platform. And in fact, we haven't even gone into Holder Gate station. So that's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. I think that's very fascinating. But let's see how we roll. I keep forgetting how we roll on destinations. Let's go ahead. All right, so we're going to roll on the table. Let's roll a dice. We're going to roll the green and the black. It's 1 dice, but it's got the gothic kind of printing there. It's almost like a digital alarm clock, but kind of with a sharp blade-like thing. We got a 5. Holy macaroni. What is this guy? Interesting. Wow, he's kind of like, oh no. All right, so we rolled a 5. What does that mean? We arrive at a small spaceport run by the challenging faction. Okay. Let's find out what our challenging faction is. We actually need to bring that list. And still, I'm wanting to get more organized, but it's slowly getting harder to keep this list organized. Let's see where. Okay, we need to have like a data section. Okay. Where would that be beginning? Okay, we got the backstory. None of this. This is all. Yeah. Okay. So that. Well, I mean, I guess we could just go to Arcturus and then boom shakalaka. Got our main factions. This is our planet. Okay. So Technologia Galacticus. What would be the closest thing to a small spaceport run by Technologia Galactus? Let's see. Would it be Tech Gala Research Outpost? I could fit the bill. A25 Tech Gala ship. Okay. So they have humans and gnomes are the main species that we'd be running into here. I feel like a Tech Gala research outpost would be more likely. Well, I mean, it's a ship. So kind of like, would it be a spaceport? No, I think the research outpost is closer. So this is where we're going now. We have now reached the Tech Gala. Yeah, let's go ahead and highlight the whole thing here. And get back to our position here. Okay. So, we arrive. Let's roll to see what, well, both things happen. We don't have to roll. So I was just saying we're still at the same location. I don't know how. Because we were supposed to be rolling destinations. Anyways, and I'm sure if we hadn't changed all of like the sub areas and stuff, it would have been a little bit more smooth in that regard. But I kind of wanted to make this universe, our own kind of. They've got a great set of features and inspirations to like work with, but I just wanted to kind of spice it up and make it our own. Kind of, what is it? Scratch off the serial numbers and all that kind of thing, as they say. That's what we're going for with that, honestly. But yeah, Technologia Galactica. So we got to kind of see how they are. So we gain a notoriety. First things first. Boom. And it is a 3. So we do not encounter a hostile guard. And then we're going to roll... oh, no, I'm reading the wrong thing. If it's 5 or higher. But it still isn't. And then we're going to roll twice on the destinations event table. Okay. Now, when it says roll twice, does that mean we do 2 destination events? Does it ever say roll once? Or does it roll twice? Just checking. Yeah, it does say roll once. So we might have been missing that. I thought it meant like roll the dice and then roll the dice again, because you have to do that. But we're going to go green first and white second. So we rolled a 1, so we're here. And then we got a 5. I moved the dice. I didn't change the facing. Okay. So we rolled the same thing. It's a reclusive mystic mentor or tribal shaman living nearby. They don't receive many unexpected visitors. So we just rolled this event. But it says we can re-roll if we want to. But I think that this would kind of be the groups that we would be kind of going after. We want to talk to somebody that we have something to offer. And obviously it's not going to be the same person. So I'm thinking this is going to be more of kind of like a researcher, since we're talking about Technologia Galactus or Galacticus. So we have, we found, or we inquire with Ethan. Hey, any more possible, places we could go? And he kind of mentions like, yeah, and in fact, there was, right before we got kind of lost, we saw these, this like outpost, and all these researchers, they have like these little stations on these islands, and they're kind of like hermits, but one that we talked to was mentioning that their research involves the why the holder are here, and what power they're gaining like from the planet. Like they're actually gaining, the Order of the Holder has this ability to tap into this energy from the planet. And they were talking to us about it. And then soon after, we kind of got stranded. So maybe if we're headed that direction, we might find, my compatriots and get back together with them, and they could definitely help us. They might know more than I do once they get fed and watered and off that deserted island, if they're still alive. So yeah, I said, hey, that's great. 2 birds, 1 stone. So we head out and we're trying to find this researcher, this kind of hermitized researcher who's like the only one doing research on this island. So we go for an island with a hermitized, solo researcher. They're just kind of trying to figure more out about the planet and how it can speak to the Order of the Holder and how it's giving them this power, They have kind of this like planet magic kind of thing. Another reason they don't really go into space as much as the other factions. They like to, they prefer, terra firma, whatever terra firma it is, especially established planets. That's where they're going to want to be, because that's where they've become one with the actual planet itself, the nature. But let's go see what's up with this hermitized researcher doing their own little what's it called, dissertation on planetary, the planets speaking to them, man. Yeah, so let's roll. 1. They open the door but take one look at we look like a pirate to them. They're kind of like, they're like, are you serious? You think I would let you in here? You're trying to rob me and destroy all my life's work. So what word do they keep repeating as they usher you away? Pirate, pirates, both of you pirates, get out of here. And they like click a button behind the door and like 3 turrets pop out. And we don't know what kind of turrets they are. Could be stun turrets, could be flame turrets, could be like, laser gun turrets. We don't know. So we kind of slowly back up. We're like, oh, okay. Hey, we meant no harm. We were just trying to learn about the planet and stuff. Heard you might be a good source. And he kind of recognizes Ethan. And it doesn't seem like, necessarily Ethan specifically, but the group, he's kind of like, oh gosh, they're back. This isn't a good sign. So it doesn't go well. All right. So, yeah, that didn't go well at all. What happens now? What is this? Yeah, we didn't search. Okay. So we roll again. Yeah, that was not fruitful. Maybe we'll find something else out. Maybe we'll find Ethan's, we rolled a 1. It was a destination event. Yeah. And a 3. People travel from all over to visit the clinic of a renowned healer or doctor. It seems their services are in demand. Okay, so this is perfect. This is going to go great. We have found, and they're like, at this point, Ethan kind of guides us quickly. We still haven't figured out anything about the engine. But, it's at this point, the sun is set. It's dark. Kind of not great time to travel, but we don't really have time. We are on a mission, and we find where he crashed his ship. I actually have with my pocket watch, my supercomputer pocket watch device. It kind of can detect, signals like that, emergency signals or distress signals. So I kind of get like a very faint ping, like something with very low energy levels is sending out a distress signal. So we kind of get a little bit closer, and we see just the beach is covered with bodies. There's like, let's see, there's 15 bodies just out there. And only, like, when we approach and get closer, we can tell that there's at least 7 of them are dead. So we find 8 surviving mercenaries. And I've got enough supplies that between me and Ethan, none of them are really budging. They're kind of just barely active. They're the ones that are moving around are very out of it. They're suffering extreme dehydration. They haven't really gotten to the point of malnutrition yet. They haven't eaten good, but they're not like dying of starvation yet. They're just very dehydrated. And Ethan's got the only ship. He has taken this ship and could not, get them to go with him. For whatever reason. Something has caused them deliriousness. Maybe something they ate, maybe an encounter with some kind of being or creature or person. So we'll see how that goes. So we get them as soon as we can, and we're right around this Tech Gala research post. And I pile up 4 of them, or 2 of them, let's say, onto my boat, and then we put the other ones on Ethan's sailboat. We head towards the research outpost. Maybe they'll be a little bit more welcoming, especially seeing how many like people are like injured. So they're very, very intense about it. Like, I mean, we got guns on us the whole time. Very high tech, like floating drones, automatons with like laser rifles. One's got a shoulder mounted rocket just aimed right at us. Kind of nerve wracking. I'm very disgruntled about this. Chuatara is like, what the hell's all this security for? I mean, come on, we're just trying to help out some injured folks. We need a doctor ASAP. So they say, okay, so your best bet is going to be going down this hallway, take a left, and that's the best doctor in town, basically. Yeah, so let's roll. We roll the 1. We join the line, but someone reacts to our eye patch, and you feel it's not worth the hassle. What bothered somebody about your appearance? Okay, so they recognize that we might be a pirate. They don't really like that we're mercenaries. So I tell Ethan, like, I'm getting out of here. They're being really judgy. I wish you the best of luck. Come and find me and let me know what happened. And I beam him a couple of divots to pay for the medical and help him out with fixing the engine, even though it's probably not nearly enough for either one. It's probably like 2,000 divots or something like that. Maybe 4,000, something like that. Almost nothing. But I send it to him. He's like, oh, thanks. I mean, we got we have some divots, but it's just kind of, we appreciate it. All right. So next thing, so we're out of there. We've lost Nathan as an ally because we leave him and his crew behind. So we got to kind of see where we're going next. That was our 2 destination things. We're like, we're out of this damn city. So same thing. We're escorted. We keep hearing people saying like, damn pirates, darn scavengers, heathens, terrible things they're saying about us. They obviously don't like us, even though they don't know us. But yeah. So we're going back to the beginning. When in doubt, this is the page to go to. Page 52. Also, another shout out. We're gonna break from the story for a second, just a forewarning. This is a little bit of a break, real quick. If you're enjoying, go ahead and like and subscribe. Also, there is a sale going on. Let's see if we can find it. We'll go to the page real quick. We'll show you. Yeah, right here. It's the Notorious Summer Sale 2026, Jason Price. I mean, there is a bunch of if you like, as of this recording, there's a bunch, and I don't know when it ends exactly. Can't see a date that it ends, but if you're hearing this, go for they've got a bunch of community copies. Okay, well there was some community copies. Let's see. Yeah, that's for the Outsiders. Saw it the other day. Hopefully you saw it on my other video and got a copy claimed. What else do they have? Maybe you can still get a Notorious one. Let's see. I mean, they've got a demo you can get. You can always get the demo. Yeah, so I mean, it was just a couple of days ago. I was thinking, huh. Okay. Well, still, I mean, it's on sale for 50% off, so you can get the game for $5. I did end up picking up Outsiders. I had Notorious from a while back, but I picked up the Outsiders. It was like, I don't know, 80 something copies when I picked it up. I was like, okay, yeah, let's pick it up. If we like it, we'll figure out something later. But yeah, okay, so back to it. Definitely enjoying the game. Highly recommend it. It's on sale right now. Yeah, but check out other games by Jason Price to see if he's got more copies. for the community copy thing. Okay, sorry about that. Little divergence. But yeah, so, man, those went quick. That was crazy. Okay. So yeah, I really like the pattern here. We're back to exploration. So what are we going to do? We're going to roll on the exploration table. And I think there's it's kind of a nice blend. While we're on this tangent, you kind of have just enough, like if you don't want to make your own stuff completely up, it gives you enough to start a prompt. Like it kind of like gives you the great keywords and stuff, and really gives you an actual thing happening, like an actual, like, this is what happened. 2 hover bikes fly up. What do you do? What do they say? And it gives you enough detail that you can kind of create your own thing. You don't really need to like go into your, like, it's not like, I mean, and I'm not saying this is bad, but I've got another oracle thing here. And it's not like the oracle in the sense of yes, no. It's an inspiration source. And it's just a deck of cards that I've made from these archetypes. So you flip a card or two. You say, who's in the scene? And let's say you got the Knight and the Wanderer. Kind of like a tarot deck, sort of. But yeah, and it's got all these different like character archetypes in it. That's an example. We're not going to use that right now because we're playing this game and kind of reviewing that. But those are a little bit more vague than what this is giving. I mean, those can be pretty specific, but this also kind of says this is who's there, this is what's happening, this is what they want, and it really sets the scene. And as you saw, there's room for interpretation, of course, because it's just vague enough. Like we found this group and brought them in. Our main character Tuatara was sort of reluctant, but it's something you can't really be reluctant about. It's saving lives. And even once we're there, we're kind of like, we're getting out of here. This isn't our thing. We got to continue with our mission. So Tuatara is not really like, he feels like he's done enough in that sense. He's like, I'm out of here. But now we have cost ourselves Ethan's help. Maybe we'll gain it back in the future if we encounter them again, but let's move on. Okay, so we rolled a 5. Our notoriety is 3. So we encounter a lead, our first lead of the game. So what does that mean? What does it mean to encounter a lead? I don't even know. Yeah, so that's interesting. What does it mean? Yeah, leads. Okay. All right, so before you finish the job, you'll need to find a few leads. Known associate. Oh, they're known associates of the target. So we have found somebody who knows the target for sure. Okay. We don't necessarily know that yet, but we're about to find out. Leads may provide clues about the target's goals and offer an opinion on their actions, or they may simply be another person in the way. Okay. As soon as our notoriety hits 3 or more, you might be prompted to create a lead. We're creating a lead right now. So to create a lead, first roll for a showdown. Like any good film, your key confrontation should happen somewhere memorable. Your growing reputation on this planet means your quarry and their associates know you're after them. You'll have to venture into the wilderness to try to find them. Roll for a showdown. Okay, do we have our lead up here? Hold up. So we're going to make a showdown to know where we're at, where we encounter them. And then for the first and second leads, roll on species and personality tables. Species and personality. We'll get there in a second. Then roll on the leads table to discover who they are. And then the third one is going to be the target. All right. So we're making some progress. This is, and once we finish making the lead and kind of do our lead encounter, that's going to be the end of the episode. But here we go. All right. So where do we encounter our showdown? 6. You catch up to them at their starship as they're preparing to board and leave. All right. So as we're heading out, we're kind of escorted out, and we see something. We see, and it's kind of odd. Okay, so first let's roll on their species and personality so we can see what we're dealing with. Yeah. Yep. So let's go ahead and do that. And then of course we're going to interpret that into the species that we have. And it could be any species, not necessarily just this planet species. I know we had a 12-sided dice out here. So we're going to roll the 12-sided dice. If we can find the 12-sided dice. We literally just had one. It's like, in my opinion, the 12-sided dice is one of the best dice. We could just roll 2d6, but we want to have, maybe it's a robot. Yeah, we found it. 2. Okay, so it's the Onsiet, the many-eyed. Oof. Okay. What is that going to mean? Give me a second to think about that, because we want to kind of bring it into our universe. We'll probably just go with Shoggoth. Yeah, we'll go with Shoggoth. Okay, so we've kind of done that. And that is a reference to oh gosh. It's Cthulhu. Lovecraft. There we go. I was trying to think of who Lovecraft was. Yeah, so it's an H.P. Lovecraft reference. But yeah, they're Shoggoth. In our universe, they're going to be like this sentient ooze, and it's just covered in eyeballs. You know, it's got like over 100 eyes. The 100-headed ones, maybe 200 eyes. But yeah, they're like this kind of silvery black ooze, covered in eyes. And what kind of says something to us? They're kind of like sliming into this weird, like, spherical ship, oozing into this top hatch, and one of its eyes kind of, or I guess like 5 or 10 of its eyes kind of lock eyes with us as it's oozing in. It seems to recognize us, and it seems to hurry up and kind of get in, and it starts powering up. So we kind of make a beeline over there, and nobody really stops us. They're kind of like, "Yeah, get out of here, pirate." And we kind of, climb onto the station. I tap into my jet boots. We're still kind of on this big platform thing in the water. And it's kind of high above. It's this big research area that's like lifted up platforms. We kind of like make a beeline for this takeoff station where this ooze is just kind of parked, and it's noticed us, and it seems to recognize us. We've got a bit of notoriety to us. We tap into our jet boots, which we have. We've got jet boots. And it gives us a little boost over real quick. And we get over there in about 10 seconds. And they're just powering up their engine. We land on top and kind of knock on the top hatch. And it says, "Admission denied," over like some robot voice. And I say, "Hey, I'd love to talk. My Shogothian friend. I think we have a lot to discuss." And what kind of tipped me off, 1, I don't see a lot of Shogothians. 2, they seemed kind of paranoid. 3, they're trying to leave in a hurry. And 4, I kind of felt that psychic hit. Like, similar to when that Avinian used that hand wave where it silenced the entire crowd. And you just can kind of feel it. It doesn't enter your mind, but it kind of changes your mind, sort of thing. And I kind of felt just on the edge of my thoughts, something being changed about my mind, almost trying to deter me, but I fought it off. And I thought, this has got to be holder power. So I pull out one of my blasters and spin it, because I could see kind of a lens on the thing, like examining. And I kind of spin it and I say, hey, I'd hate to mess up such a nice ship. And the thing unravels, and kind of intimidatingly, this Shigothian just pours out of this, port, this like porthole. And from a distance, they look pretty big. And now that we're on the ship's pretty massive, actually. But they probably are like about literally 25 foot tall. This just big ooze that's kind of like humongous. Like 5 times as tall as us. Quite intimidating. Let's see if we can kind of hold our own, stay, less intimidated. And the ship's like a 50-foot tall ship too. So but they're not like at their highest. They're kind of amorphous. So they're kind of like growing in size and shrinking down and widening kind of, but at their highest point, they're 25 feet, but usually about 15 feet tall. And covered in eyeballs, all kind of watching, and there's no arms or anything. It's just this big, like, ooze, like a pudding, black pudding, or a yellow ooze, or something like that, if you enjoy fantasy games. I would say on a 1 or a 2, we kind of hold our ground and kind of just shrug off this intimidation factor. Otherwise, we're going to suffer some effects in this conversation based on how intimidating a Shigothian actually is. Okay, we rolled a 2. We keep it under control. Maybe we haven't really been this close to a Shigothian before, but we're kind of like, what's it going to do, really? Like, and it kind of like is, we can kind of see teeth floating in it as well. Large, like 3-foot long teeth just kind of, floating in it, in this amorphous goo that just doesn't really make sense as an organism, but I guess it does to itself. Yeah, so what happens next? We know what it is. Let's see what kind of personality they have. Okay, so we rolled 2. Ooh, interesting. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. So they're kind of skittish. They're kind of like, well, we already kind of got that. So they are skittish. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's gonna be, what small item do they carry to provide some comfort? Interesting. So they carry, and some of you might know what I'm referring to, but they kind of carry it's compared to us, it's pretty big, but compared to them, it's rather small. They carry a folded parasol, kind of like, Kirby or Giants in the Playground kind of thing there, you know what I mean? So they carry a folded parasol, and they're kind of like fiddling with it, kind of just, undoing it like a little umbrella, and then closing it back up and spinning it in their hands nervously. We can tell they kind of don't want to be here. Hence why they're leaving. So we kind of ask them, like, hey, why are you in such a rush to leave? And it's like, I thought this was an active starport. Do I really have to have a reason to leave? And we notice that it's not making a sound. It is actually talking into our mind. And this feels completely different from the experience of what they were trying to do to try to get us to look away and ignore them, failing. But it's rather more intrusive and automatic. Like we were actually hearing it instead of it being on the edge of our mind, kind of manipulating or molding our mind. This is entering our mind and talking to us. And then, like, in the real sound, it's kind of like, but it's making sense in our mind. It's translating for us, even though it's also talking. But they're not armed. They are 25 foot tall at their largest and covered in probably over 1,000 teeth. and 200 eyes. So, but we're not intimidated. We hold our ground. Maybe we kind of sense that they're a little bit nervous. I mean, we do have laser pistols. Maybe that's something that it doesn't want to get shot by. So yeah, so let's see what it says. We've created our lead. So we rolled, roll on the leads to discover exactly who we're dealing with here. We're going to roll the green and the black. Oops. 3. They're desperate for money and were hired by your target. Let's see what faction they are. They're, that makes sense that they're in Technologia Galacticus, because that's who they work for. Which is weird because they're not a human or a gnome, but I mean, they might be very powerful, a very powerful being, and also very useful with some sort of knowledge that they have. So we got 3 events here. So they are timid, or sorry, they're skittish, money hungry, work for our target. And we're going to say their name is something that we wouldn't understand. Like it's like, or something like that, or for short. But what exactly like we would understand in our mind for them to be called is like a greeting. We're going to say they're called, we're going to say they're Mr. Shades. No, Mr. Umbrella. Okay, we're going to say they run by the name Silver Sand. There we go. They're Silver Sand. That's their call sign. That's the closest meaning into what their name means. Yeah. So what job were they hired to do, and why do they need the fast credits? Whew. That's an interesting question. So maybe they. So what are they hired to do? And they work for Technologia Galacticus. So let's say that they were hired by Arcturus to erase any data that, like, maybe they work directly with them. That's how they know each other. Silver Sand kind of Silver Sand kind of knew them from them visiting, and kind of like asked them, interviewed them, like said, hey, we need to learn more about the planet. And they kind of delving deeper into this world of the holder, or the order of the holder, and even like the way of the holder, tapped into these dark arts, these more or less accepted parts of the holder's potential abilities. And so basically the Shigothian here, Silver Sand, wanted to learn more from firsthand experience, and they kept, maybe pushing Arcturus, like, hey, what have you considered this? And at first maybe Arcturus was like, no, we don't do that. But maybe in their own time they kind of grew to like the idea and say, hey, what if we did kind of research that more? And now, versus getting paid by Technologia Galacticus, he's actually paid Silver Sand to erase all this data, basically wipe himself off the map. And then Silver Sand's like, this is highly against the policy, but I need the fast coin, or the fast divot. And then he's trying to head out. He's just completed this work, and he's rolling out. And we don't know all this yet, but we kind of have an idea. So he was paid to erase info on Arcturus. And I probably spelled that wrong. So He's just completely wiped them out of the system. Okay, so we're speaking with him. So he's like, what do you want? And we kind of coax this like, oh, hey, like, we were wondering, have you happened to hear of this felon at large, Arcturus, who has been practicing the forbidden arts of the holder while still part of the order, and has made themselves quite a threat. And they kind of leave our mind for a second. We take that as a sign that they don't want us to kind of get any, residual emotion, like, from their mind voice. They kind of don't say anything for a second. They seem to kind of gather their thoughts. And then we feel them enter our mind again and say, no, I might have heard them. They did, maybe they came around here once or twice, but not really sure why you're asking. Said, well, I'm a bounty hunter, and I've been sent to bring them in. And potentially anyone unwilling to cooperate in their extraction. At this, the Shigothian kind of rolls, 200 of their eyes at the same time. They're just like, oh. Yes, I've heard of Arcturus. I really don't know that much about it, and I definitely don't know where they're at. Now, they're going to attack us. All right, so now my question, I keep seeing this. Does this mean this is their stats, or are they giving this to us? I just don't know. I'm assuming that's what they have. Which, if that's the case, then these are not bonuses that we're gaining. Unless maybe they are. I'm interpreting the rules as best I can. But, what is this? Yeah, I've kind of added those to our to our system here. Yeah. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing that. Probably not. We're going to kind of italicize all this. We're going to assume this is what their combat stuff is. Or maybe we get this. I don't know. We're going to be unbeatable if we keep adding this stuff up. So yeah, let's just say that's what they've got going on. So they kind of open up their paracel, and we get, like, really quickly, and we get like this blast of wind, and our mind is like flooded with all like these crazy sounds, like, and it's driving us to madness. And it's hard to push them back out of our mind again, but we kind of like focus for a second. And then the Shigothian's upon us, and it's smashing us with, like, it feels like when you're in the ocean, this huge wave of water just hits you all at once. So they've turned their hand into like this big mass, and they're just smashing us into the ship like we're hitting the sand. And as soon as it touches, it feels like extremely warm. Not like lava, but like, very, very warm sand, like hot sand. Also, it's pretty heavy, and it's crushing us. And we're kind of like feeling for our pistols. We kind of turn them up in our holsters and just, and our mind empties of the sound, but out loud we hear this shrill cry. And it sounds like 30 things screaming at the exact same time, but with the exact same voice. It's like very odd noise. Yeah. So let's see what happens during the attack phase. Okay. Well, we need that now. Let's go. Okay. So we're going to roll. So we add attack modifiers from our equipment and any additional bonuses such as assets. Add the attack. Okay, so we figured that out. We were adding these in, but that's not the case. I was wrong about that. That's what it means by those things. So, yeah, we're going to roll our die. We're going to roll their die. Okay, so we rolled a 3. They rolled a 1. So we've got Okay, and we're going to say this is melee and not range, so we're going to add 2. We get to 3. No, we shot our pistols, so we kind of used those instead of our mace. We didn't reach for our mace. So it's going to be a 5, and they rolled a 5. So we lost. Dang it. We keep losing these fights. Yeah. So attacks can happen. It was melee, but we used our pistols. And then we do have the defense bonus. What does the defense do? They have 1 defense point. Allows a successful attack to be blocked. So we blocked it. We kind of wrap ourselves in our duster and roll off of the ship and hit the metal platform below. And it hurts. But we could kind of feel like it's almost like a burning sensation. We kind of rip our duster off and toss it on the ground as it starts to like literally melt. With a huge glop of sentient ooze kind of just like shredding it to bits with teeth. And our pistols are useless at this point. Ironically, we're a little bit far away from it. And it kind of spins the parasol around, and it's a lack of hands, but it spins it around and points it at us, and then we feel this blast of wind. We kind of roll out of the way as best we can, but we can feel it like ripping at our flesh like razors. And our shoulder is wounded. And it kind of dives off, seeing that it didn't do enough. And it's completely unharmed when it lands, and it doesn't lose any momentum. It comes in like an endless wave of teeth, eyes, and melting acidic ooze, and it slams into us. But we've managed to draw our stun mace, and we bring it under us, hitting it as it's about to collide, sparking with active electricity. Let's see how we do. Okay. Whew. Not so hot. All right, let's see. So that for us is a 6. Oh, for them it's a 5. Okay, we have just barely managed. Now they had a +1 heart, so now we're tied. We just perfectly hit their metal and cloth parasol, and it zaps, and it like almost evaporates with the amount of electricity going through it. And it kind of shocks them for a second. They throw the parasol away from them, and it lands in the water with a little clump. And then we kind of have the initiative here, and we kind of try to sweep their lack of legs out from under them. There's a big ooze, and hit them at their base with this big electric mace. All right, let's see how it goes. Ooh, so we have a 5, and they have a 3. When it hits them, they are, I guess they're more water than they are, not. And it just, almost for a second, like their whole body is coated in this little, like you can visually see this electricity. And they collapse and kind of ooze off the platform. So we have won the fight. So what happens then? So we've resolved this. Yeah. So we've won the fight. This is page 65 or 64. Okay. We don't have a target yet. And then, yeah. All right. So what happens when you win a fight? That's probably what we should be looking at. We just barely won that. All right. So we've succeeded, and it was a lead. And we're not going to kill them. We're definitely not going to kill them. We kind of just leave them there. We don't think they're dead. It's hard to tell if they're breathing. They've got like all these mouths and stuff. But we don't go in for the kill. And it was technically a stun mace, though it seemed to have a higher effect on them. But we do gain 1 favor. And we kind of know that they've, deleted all this information. Our conversation wasn't as fruitful as we thought, but we're hoping we can get to the lead before, or the target before they get warned by this lead, who seem to be leaving anyways. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed making it. All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon.